Right now, people are treating insiders like they are the closest thing to the truth. But here's the problem. What if the same people giving you the story are also profiting from it? And I am not talking about conspiracy theories. I am talking about a real pattern where access becomes authority and authority becomes money. Take Michael Wolff, close to Jeffrey Epstein, claims insider knowledge, tells compelling stories. But here's the question that is not being asked. Where is the hard evidence? And who benefits from the story being told this way? This is not about defending anyone or accusing anyone. It is about something much bigger: how easily we confuse access with truth. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Hello. Welcome back to Smart AF, the show where we cut through the noise and give you the facts straight up. So let's make this simple. When someone is called an insider, what do we actually think that means? We imagine access, private conversations, things the public does not see, best friend type relationships where we share secrets. And without even noticing, we make a jump. We start to believe that access means accuracy. But those are not the same thing. You can be close to power and still not know the full picture. You can hear things and still be hearing versions, not facts. And this is where it gets interesting. Because once someone is seen as an insider, people stop asking for proof. The story becomes enough. The tone becomes convincing, and the confidence starts to feel like evidence. Now add one more layer. What if that story is also part of how they make money? Books, interviews, subscriptions, exclusive access. Now the incentive changes, because the value is no longer just in being right, it is in being interesting. Because what grabs attention is not always what has been proven. So let's bring this back to a real example. Take Michael Wolff. He has been around powerful people for years. He writes about them, talks about them, and a lot of his credibility comes from being close to those circles, including his proximity to Jeffrey Epstein. And that kind of access does matter. It gives you a different view. You hear things most people do not. But at the same time, it creates a certain expectation. If someone is seen as an insider, we assume they know more than everyone else. We expect them to reveal something we have not heard before. And this is where things get a bit blurry. Because a lot of what gets shared in these situations is not hard evidence. It is not documents. It is not something you can go and verify yourself. It is often based on conversations, impressions, unnamed sources. That does not mean it is wrong, but it also does not automatically make it true. And most people do not really stop there to think about that. If the story sounds convincing and the person sounds confident, it just feels true. Now add something else on top of that. This kind of access is also what keeps people watching. It drives attention. It keeps people coming back. It builds an audience. So the same thing that gives someone credibility can also be part of how they grow. And again, this is not about saying someone is lying. It is just how the situation works. If your value comes from being the person who knows, there is always going to be some pressure to keep telling the story. And this is the part I keep coming back to. Not just with Michael Wolff, but with everything like this. We get so caught up in who is telling the story that we forget to ask what is actually being proven. And I see it all the time. Someone sounds confident. They sound like they were there. They drop just enough detail to make it feel real. And that is it. People just go with it. No one stops and says, okay, but where is this coming from? Where is the proof? And I am not saying every insider is wrong. I am not saying everything is made up. But I am saying this, and I really mean it. We are way too quick to trust the story just because it feels close to the source. And that is a problem. Because once attention and money get tied into it, things can get messy really fast. Not always in an obvious way, not like some big conspiracy, just small shifts. A bit more drama, a bit more certainty, a bit less questioning. And sometimes, you are not just listening to the story, you are paying for it. Through subscriptions, through exclusive content, through the promise of access. And that changes the dynamic. Because now the story is not just information, it is a product. And products are designed to keep you interested so you don't cancel your subscription. And before you know it, you are not listening to facts anymore. You are listening to a version of events that just sounds the most convincing, perhaps shocking, and definitely entertaining. And that is how people end up believing things that were never actually proven. So next time you hear an insider talking, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I hearing something that is true or something that just sounds true? Because those are not the same thing. And if it is the second, enjoy it. Just do not mistake it for truth. Because access is not the same as evidence. And the moment that line gets blurred, we lose track of what is actually real. Do you trust insider accounts more, or do you think we give them too much credit? Let me know what you think in the comments. That's it for today's episode of Smart AF. And remember, making informed decisions is your right. So before you believe the hype, get Smart AF. See you soon. Thanks for listening. If you know someone who needs this info, please share this video with them. If you found this interesting, a thumbs up and subscribe would mean a lot. And tap the bell so you never miss an update.